As promised in the previous video, hi guys, how are you? My name is Mr. Sunshine. I'm joking. My name is Tari, and this is episode 260. This is episode 260. Episode 260 is 226 divided by 12 divided by 13. Doesn't really wait. 260 divided by 12. Is it one of those good numbers? Calculate. Sorry guys, I'm going to turn the calculator on. 260 divided by 12 equal, it's not a good number. Well, it's a beautiful number, 260, but like it's divided by 12, it's 21 point something, so it doesn't really like, it's not 21 or 22 or 24. That would be a good number. So I think it's episode 360. I don't know. Anyways, as promised in the previous video, I'm going to do this note. All the notes are practically an interview with myself, giving info for better negotiation. What do I mean by that? So I got this idea yesterday when I was sitting up by myself, and every once in a while I completely question what the fuck's going on. Why am I doing what I'm doing, and all these things? And again, I mention over and over that I don't really care for this YouTube video to be a success, or I don't really care for me to be a YouTuber. And when I say build a community, I really am not building a community around me. I want to build the community around my philosophy. So, like, this is not really me trying to brand myself. This is me trying to kind of like express a philosophy of mine. And the videos are supposed to be a trail of thoughts in order for people to get to understand how this philosophy got to be. And it popped in my head is like it's because like it seems like all these notes that I'm taking that are transferred into videos because it's just literally like a note, like a sentence or like two sentences as a note from here to here. This is me elaborating. Look at this note. Insecurity is from inner fragmentation to inner unification. Oh, that was a suggestion by a guy, by the way, commented on my video. Beautiful suggestion. So I started thinking about it and I wrote it down. So credits to him, and hopefully I start getting more of these kinds of like different perspectives from people that actually watch my videos, so I'll be able to explore more how I'm thinking. But to go back to the notes, all these notes are practically an interview with myself, because like what I do is I write a note, and by writing the notes, and I really think it's something that a lot of us need to start doing, because I want to understand where my thoughts are coming from. And most of the time, they're coming on their own. They're seeing the environment and what I'm engaging with, and kind of like awe-inspired, come from nowhere, like something pop, and you go like, "What?" But the reality is, you were watching your thoughts for a while until suddenly they pop. We get to notice, by the way, like if you want to kind of like see yourself be inspired randomly, take a walk. While taking a walk, if you're not on your phone or if not anything, just observing randomly, you will notice that every once in a while you're feeling something because of a thought that comes into your head. Sometimes it's not really the best of thoughts, but it doesn't matter. You notice that you're feeling it and it's just like leaving and something else comes. And it helps because like it releases them. And it's a scientific thing. I don't know if anyone has heard of Dr. Huberman, but like, Andrew Huberman? Whatever. Dr. Huberman is a neuroscientist, so he basically discusses how, because of how we evolved as human beings, we walked a lot, and we always, as we were walking, we're always scanning. So what that did, kind of like emptied the mind and increased focus of our surroundings. And the more we did that, the more we kind of like were able to process things. So it created a counter way. The mind created a counter way to process its own self through the engagement of your eyes kind of like going left and right. And that's an actual exercise that you can do, because if you start like looking left and right when you're like studying or something like this, you feel like a lot of your mind's clutter kind of like fade away. So that's why it's very important for you to kind of like not that's why most of us, when we're on the phone, that's why when we're like thinking, we tend to kind of like start walking around or start kind of like doing an activity that helps us process. But to go back to this, all these notes, and we're at episode 260, so this should be a fucking milestone, dude. 260 episodes in 5 fucking months. That's a lot of thinking and random thoughts. But every one of them is required by me to be explained. And that's why most days I go like, I don't want to do a video because I don't know what I'm going to talk about. But then I go sit in front of you and sometimes even make a fool out of myself rambling about random shit or trying to connect these notes to a part of my story in order for me to understand more where it came from or just like to explore these things. And effectively, every one of them is something that is an interview with myself, and I explore more about myself with these thoughts, with these like conversations, and also like explains how talking to people actually helps because like if somebody is next to you giving you feedback helps you not really ramble as much and concisely kind of like deal with stuff easier, especially if you trust them, you want to like work with them and all that kind of stuff. But so imagine I have written so far over 260 notes. I have written more because I have here about 15 different notes that I still have to do, but I've written over 260 notes over 5 months. And every one of them was explained on YouTube. And every one of them made me explain something more and more and more and more and more, and dive into details and bring my past out and like find the storyline where it fits or where it came to life or where it could mean something and all these small things in order for me to get to know myself better. So I'll be able to explain where my philosophy came from towards what I'm trying to do and why this YouTube channel was something that I felt like I had to do. And again, like YouTube is a modern day thing. In the olden days, and I'm inspired by, I want to say, like, my favorite guy from the olden days is René Descartes. He's the French philosopher and mathematician. But back in the days, those guys literally would just like write down their thoughts and publish their thoughts and place them somewhere, and people would find them and get feedback. And then over and over and over and over and over again, they basically kind of like explore more and more and more of what they're thinking about until eventually they have like some form of philosophy, they have some form of reputation, and they build on top of that until they kind of like get to their bigger like books. Like I think Descartes' entire philosophy was what is nature. And there's another guy that I want to read a book for, but Descartes alone was fucking heavy. Like I would love to read this book like more than I'm gonna read this book at least 2 more times. It's so fascinating. It's just like meditations on how to think, right? It's just like fucking intense, that guy and how deep he went into processes. But he developed that train of thought through always kind of like writing and publishing. Now, back in the day, that's all they had, writing. Right now, this YouTube channel basically is me making the best out of what exists in society in order for me to be published. And I actually write, but the thing is, it's easier for me to do this because I don't actually have peers around me to like discuss stuff with and go write about stuff. And I'm not dedicating my time is not necessarily dedicating to writing. This is an easier form of thinking. Plus, the YouTube algorithm would support me. Like my best performing video has reached over 500 fucking people. And that the algorithm literally takes you, it's like, this video reaches, I think, like 17 or 20 people, then it takes you to 50. It shows you to 50, and some people choose to click or not. And then it shows you to 100 and then 500. And then the more people click, the more it kind of like says, oh, okay, you broke this threshold. So we can show it to more, and we can show it to more, and we can show it to more. It's interesting how it's done. And again, like it's the same. Like back in the day when people got published in like the medical journal, which was like the number one publisher, that means they made it. That means they've published enough. They've gotten to a certain point. They've reached a certain level of respect for them to be published and for people to kind of like. And most of the people would only watch. Not a lot of people would search for me right now, but the YouTube algorithm would push me to people that might actually like my stuff based on what they do. And so it's a good formula for me to kind of like get this feedback and to understand how I'm trying to explain how I'm trying to interview myself through you guys, and how I'm trying to bring about a more stable understanding of something that that I have philosophized about, that I have written about, that I have discussed with myself before, but it's still in my head and it's only seen in my reality. And I have to find a way to express it to the modern world in the best way possible. And I'm doing everything when it comes to programming, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to like the branding and all these things. I'm building on top of that concept. But I still have to build a community that believes in it. So I'm not trying to be a YouTuber with all these videos that I'm doing, but I am creating these videos in order to show a track record of my train of thought to get to a point where I build a community around my philosophy. And when that happens, when I would see that success as my platform starts actually growing and engaging with society the way I want it, and as we start building slowly towards its actual success and towards my concept and my philosophy's actual breaking of the frontier and establishing its reality and new reality on the world. Ha, it's fucking grandiose to actually say it this way, right? But hey, man, I there is a certain hint of pride in me. I'm not gonna lie right now. But it took me 260 episodes to realize that I've been interviewing myself all this time. So I'm excited to see what happens at the 500 episode and at the 1000th episode. Oof, fun times, man. Yalla, guys. Happy YouTubing. Remember, life is built on concepts, and I want to share mine with you. Yalla, bye.